Hello, and welcome to Real Talk with CeleXy Unscripted. Hi, everybody. I am your host, CeleXy, and today I want to talk about what's been keeping me up these last few nights. Um, and I think this is going to be good information for everybody, regardless of what your spiritual beliefs are or your way of thinking. I think this is some profitable information. So let's just get right to it. I'm going to be using my little trusty computer here. So today I kind of, I've been reflecting on over the last several nights about the mind. And there's a scripture in Romans 12 that says, verse 2, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Now, I did have some definitions up here about the mind and the consciousness, but I'm just going to take for granted that we already have an understanding of mind and consciousness and how the two are essentially similar. Uh, but maybe I'll go ahead and just for the sake of, formality. The mind is the element or complex of elements in an individual that feels, perceives, thinks, wills, and especially reasons. So it feels, perceives, thinks, wills, and reasons. Okay? And it is the conscious mental event and capabilities in an organism. Consciousness, by contrast, is the quality or state of being aware, especially of something within oneself. Now, let's just go ahead and segue and get right into it. So, I asked the question, how does one renew their mind? And we already know that if you change your thinking, you are able to change your mind. So, if you change your thinking, you change your mind. How do you go about doing that? Well, let's first talk about why we even want to change anything. There's another scripture in the Bible, and I'm going to paraphrase, but it says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, and when I became a man, I, I put away with childish things. I'm going to say that this cerebellum, or this kind of orangish red colored area of the brain, the lower brain, this is the triune brain, or the three aspects of the brain. Let's just say that the decision making area, the reptilian brain or the old brain, that's the child. So, with a child, we really don't know a whole lot, and we're extremely curious, and we're running around tasting and touching and listening and doing different things, trying to discover the world outside of us. And very reactionary, very, very reactionary. That is where the fight or flight response takes place. The old brain, that is the part of the brain that's responsible for the autonomic processes of the body. And forgive me, I am a nurse. The automatic processes of the body, the way that you're able to breathe, and your heart beats, and blood circulates through your veins, and innervation, nerve endings move throughout your body so that you have the capability of moving your limbs and experiencing pain. And all those things that happen automatically without you mentally having to do anything. Okay, so that's your lower brain, that's your reptilian brain, your old brain. But it's also the old man. The different aspects of the brain or mind represent man. So that's kind of like your old man, your inner child, so to speak. And it's always there, but as we grow up and learn new things and have different experiences and obtain a different principles and knowledge, we don't automatically respond the way we used to when we didn't have all that experience under our belt. So this old brain, this old man is what we want to put down as we grow up, correct? So then there's this middle section, the limbic brain, or the emotion. I call it the female aspect of the brain, the feminine principle. The feminine principle, and I'm gonna say the lower brain is the masculine principle. Um, and not to be mean, but let's just say that's the masculine principle. It's reactionary. The emotional brain, the feminine principle, also somewhat reactionary. This is the feelings. I feel sad. I feel happy. I feel mad. I feel angry. I feel stressed or whatever. And based on what's going on in this middle section of the brain, the man responds. He asks. Somebody posted something today on Facebook about whether or not women should be mad at Eve. Well, first of all, let's think about what Eve represents in the human being. Is Eve an actual female in ancient history, or is she symbolic of the emotional feminine aspect of our mind? Little something for you to think about, research, explore, be curious, want to know, have a desire to know. So that's the two aspects. And then this outer region, what is that? That is the neocortex, or the new brain. It is where rational thinking occurs. You may also say that this is the new man. This is the new, I'm sorry, I have this tendency all of a sudden to combine the word man and mind. Mand. I don't know. Humankind. Human mind. Okay, that's just a play on words, and that just came out of nowhere, but I'm just, I'm this wordplay person. Human, humind, mind. Hue mind. A mind encapsulated by a body of different hues. Where did that come from? Anyway, I digress. Old man, masculine. Emotional woman, feminine. New man, also masculine. The neocortex, or the new brain. Why is this considered masculine, one might ask? To be honest with you, I have no clue. I'd be inclined as a woman to say it's still feminine, but whatever. For the sake of the Trinity, for the triune brain, we're just going to say that father and mother had intercourse. Father died. Mother had a son. She was a widow when the son was born. And now you have the widow son, the widow man, the new man. Okay, that might be a stretch for some. But if you think about it, could that be the hidden knowledge, the occult knowledge of secret organizations worldwide? Could that be the, I believe there's a scripture, Paul may have said it in Corinthians, that right now you know in part, but the time will come when you'll know in full. Well, if you're only functioning via the reptile brain or the old man, of course, you only know part of anything because you're not even using your whole freaking brain, right? So right now you know in part, but the time will come when you are able to conquer the child in you, conquer the inner child, conquer your emotions, establish a level of balance within your mind such that the new man or the new mind emerges, the higher thinking mind. Here's another diagram I want to show you with regard to consciousness. So again, we have the lower brain, the midbrain, and the higher brain, or the higher order of thinking. So you want to die to the old way of thinking. You want to die to the old man. You want to die to the inner child. And then you want to establish balance in that feminine area so that you're not always so reactionary based on your feelings. I had a friend of mine say to me some years ago, Celeste, you're entitled to your feelings, but it's how you choose to react to those feelings that I take issue with. Well, if I have feelings and then I react from a childlike way of thinking, one may have issue with that. But if I somehow balance out that childlike reaction and that feminine principle of feeling an emotion and allow my rational brain to take over, to take control, my higher order of thinking, my higher self, my Christ consciousness, my God complex, my G complex. That's the real G spot right there. We've been talking about sapiosexual, sapiente, which is intellectual thought. I've given birth to intellectual thought. Yes, the masculine childlike thinking and the feminine emotional thinker have been conquered by this higher order of thinking, and so that the lower man and the inner man have been laid to rest. And my higher order of thinking, my higher man, my higher self is now in control. Thus, I have been transformed by the renewing of my mind. I have been transformed. I am no longer reactionary, fire breathing dragon, childlike reaction based on the things that are going on in my feeling emotional area. But I sit down and I balance and I weigh everything. You seen the scales? Oh my God. It makes sense. How does that come together? The scales of the scales of justice, balance between the emotional feminine principle and the reactionary masculine principle have given rise to this higher order of thinking, the G spot, the higher order thinking, the God complex, the grand architect of this universe. And when I say universe, I mean me, the grand architect of my universe, my world wide web, my internet, now has a father that knows all, sees all, feels all, smells all, is ever present. My father has conquered the five senses, such that you could say I have a sixth sense now. Something to think about. I may not have explained that extremely well because I'm still processing it, right? My brain is still being, or my mind is still being renewed as a result of this information that I've been taking in all week. Actually, for the last couple of weeks, there's been things that have been said in conversation and things that I've seen posted on Facebooks and videos that have been shared with me, and just all this information that made me reflect back to scripture. As a former non-denominational minister and a registered nurse, oh my God, how apropos for me at this phase in time in my life. I've retired from the field of nursing, and I'm a former non-denominational minister. But nevertheless, we are all ministers. As we learn and attain and acquire knowledge, we are compelled to share it with our brethren because we are all interconnected. I don't know, some of you may have seen something I posted on Facebook last night about the World Wide Web in its infancy state. There's all this manifestation of connection, the cellular connection, the nerve connections within our bodies, the skin and tissue, connective tissue that holds the skin together so that it's a stretchy covering over this temple. The World Wide Web, the internet, casting the net out into the water to catch fish, the spider web, all these elements of connectivity. We are all connected. And so, as a result of me acknowledging that connectivity, know that it is my higher order of thinking that allows me to even begin to embrace the concept of me being connected to you and us being connected to the universe, from the microorganism to the macroorganism and vice versa. We are all interconnected. So yes, as I learn, I'm going to share. Yes, I have no choice. I'm programmed that way. I am wired that way, as are you. So what am I asking you to do as a result of this unscripted real talk with CeleXy? I'm asking you, in fact, I am challenging you to just take a moment to forget everything you thought you knew about what you know. Cut this top layer of your scalp and let it just hang open. Let it just fall open. And allow new information to pour into you from the top down. And begin processing that information. That is how the renewal takes place. Every day, I told somebody, one of my friends, that I walk around with my head open wide. My head and my heart open wide to receive, which is a new concept for me. I have been so much of a giver all my life, and now I am finding myself in a place of reception. So I'm opening up my mind to receive the higher things, the higher knowledge of this universe, and I'm opening up my heart so that I can share that with the world. Oh my God, I just remembered something else from my past. The communication lines of reciprocity, they have to be open vertically as well as horizontally, so that as I allow myself to open up to receive from the vertical heavens, I can also open up my heart to give on the material plane to my people, to humankind, to the human mind. My fellow man, my fellow womb man. That's why I do what I do. Knowledge is power, but only when you apply it. It has to travel up this process of renewal. You can't just react to it like a child. And you can't respond to it on an emotional level. You have to establish balance so that you can progress up Jacob's ladder to the higher order, to the upper room. That's all I'm going to say. I got to go. This is almost a 20-minute video. I love you all. Namaste, and so it is. This has been Real Talk with CeleXy Unscripted. Peace.